All right, so this is our project for electricity. It's very similar to the one you did in chemistry, where you chose an element and a lot of you made a poster or a slideshow. In this, I don't, because remember in the chemistry one, I told you guys I didn't want you to do slideshow, but we're online. So if you would like to do a slideshow, you can. You can also do a Google poster or you can do a Canva poster. You can present this however you want. So the purpose of this project is you're going to be researching two different kinds of energy. So one needs to be a renewable energy source and one needs to be a non-renewable energy source. And I've uploaded some videos to the assignment page for you to watch to kind of learn what the difference is between the two. And then you have the freedom to choose how you'd like to present your information. The only thing I'm going to ask is if you choose to make a slideshow, just don't make a boring slideshow. There's got to be animations and transitions in it because when I go to market, I'm going to press present. So I just don't want like a white background with all font. It needs to be creativity. There needs to be creativity in it. So I've given you a checklist here, very similar to the one we did in chemistry. So let's go down here. So you're going to choose one renewable energy resource. So that could be anything like hydro, solar, geothermal, wind, any biomass or tidal. Pick one that's interesting to you. Pick one that you might have heard about before, or maybe one that you haven't heard about before, something that you maybe do a preliminary research and find interesting. And then you're going to choose one non renewable energy resource. So out of oil, natural gas, coal, and uranium, if you've chosen, so Thomas, this is for you. Thomas, if you have chosen uranium before, then you can't just use your chemistry project for this. You have to do something a little bit more creative and different for the uranium one if that's the one that you choose. Okay. So choose one renewable and one non renewable. So your research here is a checklist very similar to what we did before. So you're going to define what the energy is and where did it come from, how do they produce the energy, and how does it work. This needs to be detailed. So this can't just be like one sentence. And if you find diagrams here, then you can't just plop them into your presentation. You have to actually put a little paragraph below within your own words explaining it. So how do they produce energy is the big one. This is one I always like to say, like, pretend you're talking to an idiot on the street and they're saying, well, how does hydro even work? You want to be able to break it down in your own words so that you can explain it to them and they'll understand it. So that's the challenging part there. And then you're going to do some pros and cons of each. What are the benefits and what are the drawbacks? And then these are some pros and con categories. So what's the environmental impact? Have there been any catastrophes with this? And there have been for many of them. Have there been any oil spills? There's been huge ones, any nuclear meltdowns, like all those things. What are the costs involved? So, what are the costs for the buildings and the industrial part of it? And then, what are the costs per kilowatt hours? This could be you can talk to your parents if you're choosing something like hydro. You can ask them what their hydro cost per kilowatt is on their hydro bill, or you can easily do a Google and find that. The one thing I'm going to want you guys to do is keep this information as Canadian as possible. So it's easy to just type into Google hydro cost. I don't want the cost of hydro in the States. I want the cost of what it costs in Canada, particularly, and if you can even be more specific, in Ontario. And then how many years can we use this non-renewable resource? How much is left? So for oil, natural gas, coal, do some research to figure out that. There's tons of stuff going on. This debate section, there's going to be so much, especially for your non-renewable. There's so many debates going on about all of them, so you'll be able to find lots of information. And then you're just going to have to sift through it. So you must also discuss a catastrophe associated with one of your energy sources. It's probably going to be non-renewable, but you never know. There could have been a catastrophe related to any of your renewable energy. So whichever one you find, you need to include pictures and details of the catastrophe. How did it affect the environment and people around them? And then that's pretty much it for the research. And then once you've got all your research organized, so again, I'm not going to mark your research notes for this one, but I would recommend you do something similar to what you did in the chemistry one, where you kind of organize it all, and then you're going to put it all together in whatever one you want. So you can do a website if you want. Google Sites is really easy to work. You can make a video presentation using WeVideo or whatever one you have. Google slideshow. You can do, Andy, I know that you did a podcast, which was really great. So you could do a slideshow and then talk over it. It's really easy to do that. I'm doing it right now. You can use WeVideo. It's very easy to use, and I can show you how to get that. And you can make a poster on whatever one you want, Canva, Google Doc, whatever. And then you're going to create, same as the chemistry, you're going to create a works cited page, and you have to use 3 sources. And there should be lots of visuals here. If you find YouTube videos, you can insert them in, memes, GIFs, whatever you want. Make it very visual and very creative and appealing. And similar to the chemistry, I found a lot of really good websites here, Canadian websites that will help you get started. So here's 3. And then what I've also done is scanned and posted your textbook page. They are in the assignment as well. And I'm going to show you in a second. So this is the rubric. Please make sure you're reading the level 4. That's the highest mark. So you want to make sure that you've got enough. So for example, pros and cons, if that's out of 10 marks, then you need to be giving me a lot of detail. You can't just give me 3 things and expect to get 10 marks from that. So you want to make sure that you're putting a lot of detail into this. Description of your catastrophe, description of how it works, and then is it original? Meaning, like, did you just slap this onto a really boring slideshow? Are you using graphics appropriately? Spelling, grammar, have you proofread it? So all of that. And so that's pretty straightforward. And you have 1 week to do it. So I'm giving it to you today, Friday. The goal is that today I want you to pick your topics and get some preliminary research done and kind of figure out how you want to present it. And then you're going to have pretty much a work period, kind of like chemistry, every day next week, and it's due on Friday. So there'll be some sort of half of a work period for you guys to work on this every day next week, leading up to the due date on Friday. And so this is where it is, Friday, January 7th, and it's got the green check mark. I'm just going to leave it in here so you can come back and work at it. I recommend you watch these 3 videos here. You're going to get some information from them for your project. And then this is the scanned textbook pages that will help you guys with your preliminary research. And the scanned textbook pages are actually bolded and really easy to understand for the different renewable and non-renewable. So it's got hydro there. It's got pictures of it, so you can even screen capture the pictures if you wanted to describe it. But you could also find them elsewhere. I encourage you to do that. Look, pros and cons. So the textbook has really good information as well. And let me know if you need any help.